boy, but not yet a man, hated this endless waiting for his mother. Because in the gaps of time between worrying and hoping and wanting slid the other thoughts. The other thoughts were itchy and twisty, and even though he tried hard not to scratch at them, he found them impossible to resist. Saul reached into the pocket of his jeans for the worn twist of pipe cleaner and wool that he and his mother had made all those years ago. The school's specialist learning mentor had searched out Mrs. Anguish at the school gates, suggested ever so gently that she and her 9-year-old son might benefit from a series of workshops that Lee Park Juniors was running, Enjoying Your Children. In that first session, Saul's mother had twisted the pipe cleaner into a face with arms and legs and smiled down at her son with bloodshot eyes. His job had been to glue on the black strands of wool for hair, to draw a crooked smile on a pale scrap of felt. A worry doll, for him to share his secrets, his fears. The smudge of ink on its face had now been rubbed blank, the pipe cleaner's fluff worn bare in places, exposing the metal beneath. That glimpse of silver made Saul wonder how it would feel to touch his fingertips to electrified barbed wire. To press his soles against the live tracks running through the train station at the bottom of the hill by the boats. To hold his mother's face in the sand until she struggled and stopped moving. Fear for her safety always did that to him. It made him angry and confused and unsure what to feel. The estuary spread out before him, mud and tide meeting like old enemies. Night had come calling, and through its dense curtain he searched for Gloria Anguish, torn between wanting his mother home and the freedom of never having to watch for her at the window again. A movement snagged the horizon, a whisper of something. Saul strained into the rainy darkness, trying to read the shape of the night. He fingered the worry doll. Even at 16, he still slipped it under his pillow when he slept, although he'd never told his mother that. And then, just as he was wondering whether he should go out and look for her, she was there, stumbling across the wide expanse of beach in front of their rented flat, her coat flapping open, the moon spotlighting her during a break in the clouds. He did not need to smell the fumes on her breath to know that she was drunk. Gloria Anguish turned awkwardly, threw a glance down the shoreline towards the distant lights of the refinery, and began to run with an unsteady gait. Saul could imagine that slight sheen across her forehead, the tumbled slur of her apologies when he opened the door and let her into a tea of congealed baked beans and cold burnt toast. A few yards from the bottom of the concrete steps that led from the beach up the grassy hill to their flat, Gloria stopped running, just for the briefest of moments. Her shoe had caught on the edge of a small rock, and that lull in motion was followed by a loss of balance which sent her sprawling across the narrow strip of sand. Saul waited for her to crawl to her knees, to lever herself upwards, and lurch unevenly home as she had done countless times before. But his mother lay still, her jaw loose and slightly open, her black hair spread out like seaweed, like strands of wool. The tide, almost home, was lapping at the hem of her coat like an over-familiar friend. In the time it would take Saul to tie his laces, to run down the stairs of their flat, across the road, past the benches with their memorial plaques and dying roses, and down the steep steps to the beach, his mother's lungs could be filling up with salt water. Or perhaps, if he tried really hard, he might reach her just as the bitter liquid trickled into her mouth. But Saul found his feet were stuck to the stained carpet, that although his eyes were fixed on the shape of his mother, he could not move. The hands of his watch clicked onwards, each tiny movement a chance squandered. He wondered if her eyes were open or closed. It was hard to